I'm Eileen Fleming, founder and senior correspondent for WeAreWideAwake.org with the first in this series, What You Need to Know So We Can Change the World. The big news this past week that you need to know is that on February 3, 2010, The Independent reported that a high-ranking officer who served as a commander in last year's assault on Gaza admitted that Israel's army went beyond its previous rules of engagement on the protection of civilian lives, and that he did not regard the long-standing principle of military conduct known as means and intentions, whereby a targeted suspect must have a weapon and show signs of intending to use it before being fired upon, as being applicable before calling in fire from unmanned drones and helicopters during Israel's assault on Gaza, known as Operation Cast Lead. So that we can change the world, what you need to know is that Article 1975 of the UN Fact-Finding Mission on the Gaza Conflict Goldstone Report on Human Rights in Palestine to the international community recommends that the states who are parties to the Geneva Conventions of 1949 should start criminal investigations in international courts using universal jurisdiction, and where there is sufficient evidence of the commission of grave breaches of the Geneva Conventions, and wherever warranted following investigations, the alleged perpetrators should be arrested and prosecuted in accordance with internationally recognized standards of justice. And that especially the quartet has the responsibility to ensure that respect for the rule of law, international law, and human rights means for all sides in this ongoing conflict. Something you also need to know is that I am blatantly biased on the side of the poor, oppressed, and voiceless, and it is my faith as a Christian anarchist of the Sermon on the Mount that compels me to talk to you. Now, anarchy is best understood as rebellion against unjust laws. The yang of the anarchy resists authority and causes disorder and chaos, for it is socially and politically incorrect by the norms of the status quo because it seeks the higher ground of justice. Now, the yin, the feminine force of anarchy, births a new order out of chaos, and chaos is creativity in action. You also need to know that Jesus was never a Christian. In fact, that term was not even coined until 3 decades after Jesus walked the earth. Jesus was born, lived, and died under a brutal military occupation and remained a non-violent Palestinian devout Jewish road warrior who rose up and challenged the security of the temple hierarchy by teaching the Hebrews they did not need to pay the high priest for ritual baths or for performing animal sacrifices to be okay with God, because God already loved them just as they were. Poor, oppressed, diseased, widows, orphans, prisoners, and refugees, all enduring under a brutal military occupation. What got Jesus crucified was for disturbing the status quo of the occupying forces of Rome by teaching subversive concepts such as all people are equal and that God even preferred the poor, oppressed, diseased, widows, orphans, prisoners, and refugees above the elite and arrogant. You also need to know that God is love, and as the 20th century Christian anarchist Dorothy Day said, love is not the starving of whole populations. Love is not the bombardment of open cities. Love is not killing. Our manifesto is the Sermon on the Mount, which means we will try to be peacemakers. And as Gandhi said, what difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, the homeless, whether the mad destruction is wrought under the name of totalitarianism or the holy name of liberty and democracy? If we are to teach real peace in this world, if we are to carry on a real war against war, we must begin with the children. So, I will conclude with an invitation to all the young adults of the world who have or will have children. If you are between the ages of 18 and 35 and ready for a 12-day reality tour in Israel, Palestine, check out sabeel.org, that's SABEEL.org, for all the details regarding Sabeel's 5th International Young Adult Conference, which begins July 21, 2010. You'll learn a lot more about Christian liberation theology and actively engage with nonviolent Palestinian Muslims, Christians, and Israeli Jews in solidarity against the occupation. Application deadline is June 1, and you may just qualify for some financial aid to help pay your way, so don't delay and read much more at wearewideawake.org, February 6, 2010. And I also send all my love and deep gratitude to all my publishers at arabisto.com, thepeoplesvoice.org, opednews.com, countercurrents.org, informationclearinghouse.info, dissidentvoice.org, navico.com, and anyone else I've forgotten, and to everyone who has ever read and disseminated my words, because only in solidarity do we have it in our power to begin the world again. Power to the peaceful. See you next time. Bye-bye.